Hello everyone. Welcome. Today we are going to talk about the pricing per night. You will see the main configuration for you to set your rate plan, enter your daily rates, among other additional tools. First, we need to set the pricing model in the system. Go to the menu Settings, and on General Settings, you will click on Pricing. Here, mark the option Pricing per night. When you select this option, you need to indicate, in the baseline, the minimum of nights you will allow guests to make a reservation. Then, you need to mark which model you are going to use in the pricing per night. Here you will find the options Length of Stay Discount and Common Rate Plans. The main difference between them is that on Length of Stay Discount we can set more minimum night lines and set discounts for each of them. That is, you can give discounts to your guests according to the number of nights booked. On the Common Rate Plans we can also set more minimum night lines, but it is not possible to give discounts. Another difference between the models is that if you want to add more minimum of nights to your rate plan, only the Length of Stay Discount will allow you to make this change directly in the listings calendar. So, the Length of Stay Discount is more flexible and practical. Let's use this model for our video, since it is also the most used by the administrators that use the stays system. Considering that, let's start setting using the Length of Stay Discount model and set the rate plan. To do that, you just need to click on the button and add the lines. You will have the options, weekly, monthly, and custom. If you choose the weekly line, the system already sets the minimum of nights as 7 days, and you can set a discount. Monthly it will be 28 nights with a discount, and for any number that is different from this, you can use the custom line. And, when you finish the configuration, do not forget to save. Your rate plan was created. Now let's talk about an additional tool that is important for your pricing. In the Pricing tab you can see the Dynamic Pricing Rules field. On the Pricing per Night model, the information will only be sent to Airbnb and will not affect your direct sales, website, or reservations coming from other sales channels. This configuration has two possibilities: activate the early bird or last-minute discount. The first one means to give a discount to reservations made in advance. So, in the field below you can indicate a discount percentage and set how many days before the check-in is considered advance for you. In this case we will give a 10% discount to guests that make the reservation at least 30 days in advance. The next option will be the last-minute discount. It follows the same logic. You just need to enter the percentage of the discount and then to choose what period is considered last minute. In this case, for example, we will give a 10% discount for guests who booked in a period within 5 days before the check-in. Now let's talk about the rounding of prices. In this field you will mark if you work with round prices or not. If you work with uneven prices, mark the option No. This configuration affects price quotation, website reservations, and the sending of prices to the sales channels. But for manually created reservations, the original price will prevail. The next field is Reservation Guarantee. If you already work with Stay's website, you can indicate your reservation guarantee charge, that is, the amount the guest must pay to make a reservation via the website. You will have 3 options. The first is both options. That means that the guests will be able to choose if they want to pay the total amount or just a percentage of the total amount. And, below, you can set the percentage of the guarantee. The second option is total reservation amount, that is, the guests must pay the total amount of the reservation. And, finally, Reservation Guarantee only, in which the guests will have the option to pay a guarantee, that is the percentage you will set. Now we are going to talk about the calendar. Go to the menu and click on the calendar list screen. On this screen you will be able to see all the calendars of the listings in your system. Here you can see all the available dates, reservations, and blocks, among other information. On the left side you have a filter where you can choose the specific dates you want to check out the information. You can also filter by the status of the reservations, by sales channel, and check how the pricing is in which channel, besides other additional filters. Notice that next to the image of the listing there is a plus icon. When you click it, you will expand the calendar of the listing. Here we can perform some specific actions regarding the pricing, besides additional tools. Here we can perform some specific actions related to the pricing. Now let's start setting the daily rates. Notice that, in your calendar, you will have the baseline. Here you must enter your base price. You can select a specific period by clicking and dragging, and on the next screen you will enter the daily rate. Or you can select the first date and on the next screen set the final date to which the daily rate will be applied in your calendar. When you save it, you will see that the other lines will be automatically filled with the discounts. It happens because these lines were already created in the settings menu. Another important configuration is your minimum of nights line. It is also filled according to your configuration. Here you can make changes for specific periods, without changing your rate plan structure. For example, if you want to change, for a specific period, the minimum of nights to 5 nights, you just need to go to the line, select the period and make the change. Now the base minimum of nights was changed for this period. Another practical example is when the administrator changes the minimum of nights on the weekends. In this case, you need to click on the start date and on the next screen select the final date in which this action will be applied. When you select more than 14 nights, the system will give you the option of choosing the days of the week. Here we are going to select Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now you just need to change the minimum of nights for the period and save the changes. See that the change was applied only to the selected period. Another configuration that can be done in the calendar is the restrictions. They are different from the blocks, since the blocks close the whole day and the restrictions block arrivals and departures for specific days. To do this, click on the start date in the restriction line. On the next screen, select the period in which you want to apply the restriction, and inform if the restriction will be done in the arrival or in the departure, or both. When you finish it, there will be tags in your calendar, indicating the period. Another example much used by the administrators is to not allow check-ins on Sundays. Remember that if you select more than 14 nights, the system will give you the option of marking the days of the week. Now we are going to mark only Sundays and restrict the arrivals. This way all Sundays of the period will have check-in restrictions. Another tool that can be used is the conditions. In this line you can apply promotions, that is, discounts, or increases, that is, increase the daily rates for specific days or periods. To do this, you need to select a period and mark if you want to set a promotion or an increase. In this case, we are going to give a 10% discount. The discount will appear in the calendar. That means that for these specific days a 10% discount will be applied on the daily rates. Another practical example is administrators that use to increase daily rates on the weekends. For this result you need to select the start date, then enter the period in which this action will be applied. Remember that when you set more than 14 nights, the system will give the option of marking the days of the week. In this case we are going to use Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then, we are going to mark increase and enter the percentage. When you save it, the configuration will be applied is, for the selected period, the daily rates will have a 15% increase. Besides the actions presented before, you can perform more in the calendar list screen. In the first line of the calendar, you just need to select the period you want, and you will have these options. Here it is possible to create a reservation by clicking on the button Next, or you make a quotation for the period. On this screen, the system will show you all the amounts configured in the settings, the amount of the fees, the daily rates, and the total amount of the reservation. You can create a manual reservation by clicking on this button if you want to. Here you can create a block for commercial purposes. It will prevent your listing from getting booked in the period you have selected. You can also add a comment with the reason for the block and then save it. The other option is the maintenance block. It is used when your listing is under repairs. And you can also add a comment and save. We will be able to differentiate the blocks in the calendar by the colors green and red. Now let's see some important information that must be configured in the listings page. To do this, you need to go to your listing. Go to the Listings menu, select the listing you want, and then click on the Finance tab. And here, you are going to click on General Pricing Configuration. Here we have some important configuration. The first one is to define whether the listing is going to have an individual pricing, or if it is going to import the pricing from another listing. For the second case, we call it horizontal rate groups. It can be used when your listings have the same daily rates. Here you can copy the prices from one listing to another. When you click on this option, you must choose the listing you want to copy the prices. You will have two options. You can copy the prices permanently, that is, all changes made on the parent listing will be done in the other listing. Or you can import the prices just for now, that means that it is simply a copy. The prices will be imported but you edit it. You need to choose the listing's default currency. It is recommended that you use the same currency you already use in the sales channels. Mark if your length of stay discount policy will follow the default model configured in the general settings. When you click on the global option, you will be able to see your default rate plan. And if you want to set a custom daily rate for this listing, you need to click on Individual and make the changes. If you work with security deposits, you can set the amount on this field. Remember that this information will appear in your website and on some specific channels that integrate this charging. Below, we have the Dynamic Pricing Rules field. It was configured in a global way. Here you can set if this listing is going to follow the global configuration or if you want to apply an individualized rule for the listing. On the next field, you can see all the additional fees that were created in the system. You can indicate that for this listing the default amount will be applied, or you can make an individual configuration, that is, set a specific amount for this listing. In the next field, we have the Derived Prices. This configuration is used by administrators that change the daily rates according to the number of guests. If you want to apply this configuration, mark Yes. In the first field, you are going to set the amount of people that are going to pay the base daily rate. In the second one, you are going to enter the amount to be charged by extra guests. This configuration is connected to the full capacity of your listing. In this example, the base daily rate will be charged for up to 5 guests, but if there are more than 5 guests, $50 will be charged by extra guest, up to the full capacity of the listing. You can also make this charge by additional child. But remember that this configuration is only for booking, and that the extra child will exceed your full capacity. Finally, we have the Reservation Guarantee. We have also set it in the general settings, and you can keep the global configuration or choose a specific configuration for this listing. By doing this, you finish your pricing configuration that must be done for every listing. This configuration will complement your configuration. It will make your listings able to connect with the sales channels. If you want more information on the theme, click on the link below, in the description of the video.